Hello and welcome to my video. So in this video I'll be wheel throwing a giant bowl and a few other things too. So I just start off here by centering my clay. I think I'm using around 1.5 pounds, and then I'm just pulling up with a simple cylinder, and I do use the sponge when I pull a cylinder. And then I'm just evening out the cylinder. This is actually for an assignment. So what we had to do was we had to make consistent cylinders. We had to make 4 of them for my ceramics class. And the whole goal of this project was to, it was only technical, so it wasn't anything aesthetically like pleasing or anything like, anything good looking. It was just technical challenges, which is, had to be the wall thickness had to be consistent all the way down, and you had to master throwing a cylinder. And I made my 4 cylinders, and then I made a bigger one. When I cut my cylinders in half, I did realize that the bottom of my cylinders were a little thicker than I thought to be. So I guess I just have to pull up more clay when I'm pulling from the bottom of my cylinder. It was a great assignment to make me realize that. And then, of course, I went with more clay, and this is the giant bowl that I threw. And of course, you can probably read by the title, it was a fail. So this giant bowl, you can see me here sort of contemplating. The clay was really soft. So this was reclaimed clay, which if you don't know what that is, it's clay that used to be leather hard or bone dry, and then you just recycle it by adding more water to it, remaking it back into clay. And so it was super soft. It needed some time to dry out, and I didn't give it that time because I kind of rushed the clay process. I should have wedged this clay a little bit more. I probably should have let it dry out a little bit more and before throwing with it, but I went onto the wheel with it, and of course impatience just made me fail. So here the clay is very wet, very easy to move, very workable, which sounds great, but when the clay is too moist, too easy to work with, it flops, and as you can see here, it's wobbling. And so the wobble makes it hard to work with, and the clay just was not in a great consistency to work with and throw on the wheel. And so it's really wobbling here. I end up trying to just shape it, hold it as much best as I could, and at this point I realized there was not much I can do with this bowl. So I just had some fun with it and realized that it was going to be a flop, a failure. It was good practice though, because it was really easy to center because it was so soft. As you can see here, I just destroyed it. The walls were way too thick. I think it was like maybe a ½ inch wall thickness, which is way too thick for my liking for a bowl. It would be very heavy when you pick up the bowl, and I don't really like that. Or it'd be too much to trim off. I don't really like to trim a bunch off. I feel like I should just try to throw as best as I can, so then I have no trimmings later on, because a great potter doesn't have anything to trim after they're done throwing, and that's why I scrapped that bowl. But I wasn't gonna leave the wheel without anything to show for the time I spent wheel throwing. So of course I went back in, I centered another ball of clay. This was maybe around another 1.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds. Not too heavy actually. I think it was only 1.5 pounds. I centered that piece of clay up pretty easy because it's not that much clay. And then I ended up making a plant potter. And for this plant potter, I wanted to make like 3 bellied out. I kind of had an image in my mind. It was just a 3 bellied out mini plant pot. And then I poked some holes in it today, actually, which I didn't show, but I ended up poking 3 holes. So then when you water it, the water will go through the plant and then into the dish that I'll eventually make for the bottom of this. But this was just a really fun, throwing session that I did during my ceramics class. And talking about my ceramics class, I think I am a little bit ahead because we had our cylinders critique today, which is the assignment I explained earlier. We had to throw 4 cylinders. We had that critique inside class today, and we meet on Fridays for 6 hours actually, from 9:30 to 3:20. And that went pretty well. Like I said, I did realize that my cylinders could get a little bit more consistent. And then I threw some vases, which I'll make another video about the vases that I threw, and that's really exciting. So expect more content about ceramics in the future. I've been having a lot of fun wheel throwing and making these projects on the wheel throwing and sculptures too. I'm also making a Chinese dragon. Check out that video. That's more to come. And it's a lot of fun making sculptures, and I'm really enjoying ceramics recently. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll just leave it up to the music now, and I'll see you in the next one.